Good morning, Falcons. Today is Wednesday, January 22nd. I am Roman Castelli.
And I'm Nathan Aviva.
Today's weather. Today we'll have cloudy skies with a high of 19 and a low of 15. January 22nd is National Polka Dot Day. Polka dots refer to fabric printed with spots. The word first appeared in the 1857 Godey's Ladies Book, a women's magazine out of Philadelphia.
Today, polka dots appear on more than just fabric. They're painted on walls and fingernails. You find them on pottery, phone cases, furniture, baked goods, and paper products. Here are today's announcements.
Hey Falcons, do you like trivia? Do you enjoy watching Jeopardy? If so, you should join the Fall Creek Junior High academic team. We meet on Monday mornings in Miss Slaughter's room at 8:15 for practice. We will play trivia games, have snacks, and hang out with friends.
Our first practice is on Monday, January 27th at 8:15. Miss Lowe and Miss Feeney hope to see you then. Attention all Falcons, are you doing something amazing? We're looking for students to spotlight. Whether you have a creative talent, excel in athletics, are involved in unique activities or clubs, have a special skill or hobby, or make a difference in our community.
We want to hear from you. Simply scan the QR code that will be displayed during lunch periods or that appears on the screen. We look forward to hearing about all the amazing things our Falcons are doing.
Earlier this fall, we had our ALICE student tabletop discussions. At the end of the presentation was a QR code where students could submit questions they had about our ALICE protocol. Today, we are going to be answering some of the questions that are frequently asked regarding the ALICE protocol.
Hello, Falcons. We're here today sitting down with Ms. Harmeyer and Mr. Ryan. Thank you for joining us today. We have some questions regarding the ALICE tabletop discussions. The first frequently asked question is, what should a student do if they're in a hallway or restroom during a lockdown?
So one of the most important parts of our ALICE protocol is to be alert, right? And so if you are in a restroom or if you're in the hallway and you hear that we're in a lockdown, then it's really important that you try to figure out what's your best option. Because once you're in a lockdown, you won't be able to enter any classroom or space. So then you'd have to decide based on what information that you have around you, whether or not you hide in the restroom or whether you need to counter that person if they're right in your same space. So it's really important to be alert, aware, and thinking through what your best options are.
Thank you. The next frequently asked question is, why don't we break windows?
Yeah, so I think one of the things with ALICE that's so important is that it's not like a prescribed list, like you do this and then you do this and you do this. It's all based on reaction to what's happening in the environment. And so when we look at breaking windows or breaking anything, it really is based on the situation as it is, because in a lot of circumstances, your safest place might be in that room with the lights off, the door locked and shut, and in the corner where the person can't see you. And so if you break the window, that might, in the attempts to do that, you might draw attention to yourself or attention to the room, which could actually put your class and you actually in more danger. And then there's also the element of not really knowing what's on the other side of that wall or what's outside. So again, not that that's not potentially an option given the situation, but we know that the greatest deterrent is a closed and locked door. And so if we can do that and make sure that door is locked and that you can get out of sight, that's probably your safest scenario.
Thank you. Another frequently asked questions Falcons had is, what happens if a student or students are in the same space as the person with bad intentions?
Yeah, so kind of like we were just talking about, in that situation, a closed locked door doesn't help you because the person is there. And so thinking about how ALICE isn't a prescribed list where you do this, then you do this, one of the options and what we would have to do there is you're going to have to fight back. You're going to have to do what you need to do in order to get out of that situation safely. And so I know there's been circumstances where I think even last year, our 8th graders might remember this, we kind of looked around the room and we identified what could we use to defend ourselves if we needed to. Because it might be, given a situation, you might have your iPad that you use and almost as a weapon, and you throw it to try to give yourself a little bit of space to distract the assailant so that you can become safe. But it's just those reactionary skills, which is why it's so important that we practice these things so that you just kind of know when looking around, if I'm in this environment or if I'm in this classroom, what can I use to help me in the worst of worst situations?
Okay, so can students run away or go home in the event of an emergency?
So one of the important parts of, like Mr. Ryan said, is being aware, but we're also having to make sure that we're sticking together, because part of our process when we evacuate is accounting for every person so that we know that everybody is safe. And so the reason why we wouldn't want anybody running home or leaving school grounds is that we wouldn't know whether they were safe or not safe. So we take attendance and we keep all of those procedures in order and keep track of them. And when we evacuate, there's a reunification process where people check in and check out, and it's very organized so that we can make sure we have all of the information. If someone were to run away, we wouldn't know, like, oh no, they were here today, but now they're gone, and their parents may not know where they are. And then when they would come to pick them up for a reunification process, then it's even a more scary situation for both the family and that student. So that's why even though that may seem like an okay option, and sometimes it is running, right? That's an option that you have, is to evacuate and you're trying to run away, but you got to make sure that you're staying within the safety of the organization.
Okay, thank you. Our last frequently asked questions Falcons had is, what if a student's parent come to school to get them during an emergency?
So that kind of goes along with what I had just answered. When parents would come to the school, there's actually a whole different site, because in the event that something like this would happen, we take all students somewhere else for there to be a more organized, structured reunification process with the family. So if your family came here, then they would just have to wait and be directed to the reunification site. So you wouldn't be released because it would just be too chaotic. We have to make sure that it's organized, everybody is very safe, and that it isn't creating more disorganization when it's already going to be very chaotic with emergency responders and other things like that.
Thank you, you two, for answering these frequently asked questions.
Yes, and if I could just have a moment, I just wanted to share that I was very impressed, and our safety committee here at the school was very impressed with the student questions. We had over 700 responses from the QR code, which showed me that you guys are safety-minded and very serious about school safety, which is very important. And so I just also want to remind you all of the HSC Report It. And so if you do see something or hear something, students are really our first line of helping us know if there's anything that we need to help with. So remember those safety tips and stay safety-minded. We appreciate it. And great job on those questions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching, Falcons. If you have any further questions, please feel free to reach out to Mr. Ryan or Ms. Harmeyer. Have a great day.
Congratulations for Haley Colburn for being selected as House of Liberty's January Student of the Month. Haley is a ray of joy and happiness on our team. She approaches challenges with a positive attitude, and she doesn't back down from trying her best. Haley is a natural leader and demonstrates what it means to soar. Keep up the great work, Haley.
Thanks for tuning in, Falcons.
Remember to be safe, optimistic, accountable, and respectful.
Have a great day.